Hello everyone, as usual it's me Pavlo, and as usual we'll be talking about really interesting earphones. It's actually debut of a pretty well-known company on the earphone market, and if you think that you never heard of Arpegear or Arpegear Hane, not sure about correct pronunciation, you are right. But in fact, these earphones were developed and released by Topping. And of course, Topping is a well-known and well-established brand on the audio market. They created a lot of good digital tonal converters, amplifiers, both portable and desktop. So they decided to try their skills in the IEM's market and released interesting model. Price is $130. I will add link to the AliExpress shop in the description. It's earphones built with single dynamic driver, but their main feature is tweakable sound. They have 4 toggles that changes sound in a pretty noticeable way. So I hope I've got your attention, and let's have a closer look. Package looks pretty stylish with this minimalistic approach. It's just a sliding sleeve over the black cardboard, and on one side you can see this arpege ear, and on the other side probably it's Hane, or I don't know what this means, but kind of interesting that you can't see both sides. On the back side we have technical specifications and even frequency response charts. So let's go inside. Here we have earpieces themselves. Let's put them aside. Nicely organized set of different tips, including foam ones. Then we have stock cable. And here comes storage pouch and this tool, it's like SIM card extractor, but in this case it's a tool for toggling these switches. Of course, it would have been nice to see some some better case, but we're getting just this pouch. Besides that, accessory set is really good. Design of earpieces is absolute classics proven by time. They are made from probably resin or some other kind of plastic. They have really ergonomic shape. They are pretty compact, so they will fit into vast majority of ears, I think. Into my ears, they fitting really nice and provide good wearing comfort. They have nice length of the spout, not too long, not too short, and this spout provides slightly above average passive sound isolation. There is a lip for holding the tips and protective grill inside of the spout. You can see it. But definitely what I really like here is faceplate design. It has this really noticeable three-dimensional effect and also pretty interesting pattern. So looks not super flashy, but at the same time pretty stylish. Here we have 4 toggles that changes sound, and they labeled on and off position. If I remember correctly, first one is boosting deep bass, second one is boosting deep and mid bass in more noticeable way, third one is slightly reducing upper mids and lower treble area, and fourth one boosting treble overall. But more about the sound we'll talk in the next part. Cable is made replaceable. Here used 2-pin connectors with a bit recessed sockets, but not too much. Connectors are pretty strong. They are holding really well. So nice option. There are ear hooks formed, but what I'm not really fan of is that cable has this fabric insulation. It's not super critical, but anyway, I don't like the feel of this insulation, but maybe it's a subjective thing. Also, there is a slight microphonic noise, but thankfully it's almost removed by ear hooks. And also, I'm not 100% sure about the durability of the fabric insulation, because most likely it will gather some grease and dirt. But at the same time, it should be more reliable to some mechanical damage. Then goes splitter with chin slider, and underneath it goes braided down to the angled 3.5mm connector. As you can see, connector is also pretty massive. And anyway, design of earpieces is really nice. Cable probably could be better, but still nothing critical in my opinion. You know, I really respect companies that are consistent in their signature sound. Even if it's consistently not my type of sound, it's still a pretty good thing to know what you're getting from the company when you're buying their products. And in this case, actually, Topping created tuning that, in my opinion, pretty close to their signature sound. And in the default position, it's a pretty natural and even pretty bright sounding earphones with noticeable boost in the upper mid and treble area. But luckily, and what is a great thing here, they've added these tuning switches, and actually it allows to tweak their sound more towards your tastes. What I did here, and I boosted deep bass first switch, and I reduced upper mids and lower treble third switch. And I will describe sound for this tweaking because it fit my taste most of all, but we'll try to mention other options too. So bass is pretty deep, it's pretty firm, it has good speed, nice rumble, and when it's necessary it delivers pretty powerful punches. Without the switch off, actually it's a bit lacking in terms of quantity, in my opinion, but quality is really good. Nice texturing, pretty decent saturation with small nuances, so instrument sounds pretty realistic. If you listen to some instrumental music when it's important to get like lifelike representation of low frequencies, you can try all bass boost off switches. If you like warmer sound signature, if you like accented mid bass and deeper bass, you can toggle first and second switch. And in my opinion, best option is with only first switch turned on. You getting slightly more deeper bass that makes sound bit more firm and foundational, but at the same time you're not boosting mid bass, and that makes instrument sound still pretty realistic and lifelike. But at the same time, it's enough punch for electronic music, for example. And actually, this is the track I've used as a kind of reference point for tweaking amount of low frequencies I want to have. It's Prodigy Mindfields, and in the mid part of this track, we getting pretty powerful and punchy drum kicks that really should be a slightly overwhelming, slightly resonating and impactful. And that's what I've got with first switch toggled on and second off. When I turned second off, bass became slightly shadowing mid frequencies, and overall representation losing a bit of three-dimensional sense. So I decided to go with this tuning. Then I tried some instrumental music with double bass, and actually that's my perfect tuning here. In terms of mids, I really like the representation. It's a dynamic driver, slightly focused on the micro contrast, but not too much. But if you're sensitive for the upper mids and lower treble area, keep in mind that they have noticeable boost in this area. From one hand, you're getting more forward female vocal, you're getting sharper, crisper, and more emotional distorted guitars, violins, flutes, and many other instruments. But at the same time, with poorly recorded stuff, it can sound too sharp and too piercing. So that's why I flipped the third switch that reduces that region a little bit. It still remains a pretty airy and pretty upper mid forward earphones, but they're not crossing my threshold. Even on sharp and sibilant tracks like Iron Maiden's Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, for example, it remains pretty under control. At least to my ears, because we have different sensitivity here. And I almost never flip the fourth switch because it allows you to get even more of that. And to flip the fourth switch, actually, you need to have some really well recorded material without any issues on treble. In this case, you can sometimes get good results, but overall, I prefer to keep it off. And they built nice imaginary stage above average in width and in depth, pretty airy and spacious, but not overblown. Instrument sounds with good sense of realism, and they sound, when it's present on record, they delivers a good dynamics and amount of emotions. But at the same time, they're not trying to boost or highlight anything in this aspect. So I try them in this tuning with not perfectly recorded stuff. It's And Talking About Love by Van Halen, and pretty decent results. Nothing is too sharp, nothing is overwhelming, and at the same time that signature guitar sound is epic, dynamic, and sounds really catchy. And treble with this tuning, it's actually nice amount of high frequencies, slightly boosted but not too much. They have a slight rollback at the upper treble, but actually it's okay with vast majority of modern recordings because they are not superior in terms of higher treble. If you listen to perfectly recorded stuff, you can flip the fourth switch and you'll get even more airiness, but with a lot of my media library, it doesn't sound too well. It's good in terms of basic and extended overtones. Layering is rather basic, but for this price tier, it's expectable results. And it's a typical good dynamic driver treble. Not too airy, not too saturated, but at the same time with nice defined attacks and decays. So it's not some kind of spectacular audiophilic rich treble, but at the same time, besides the overall quantity of bass is nothing, treble, it's nothing to compare about. But if you're not super treble sensitive, I think this amount will be rather okay for you. And as for example, it's the Quintet Hot House, one of the greatest collaborations in the history of jazz music. You can see names of performers on the screen, and typically for that time, it's a pretty treble intensive record. I'm not sure why all records are mixed and mastered this way, probably to compensate a bit drawbacks of audiophile gear at that time, or maybe it was just the way people prefer to listen it, but a lot of things go to the treble area and sometimes they are pretty forward. So with the fourth switch on, it's too sharp even for me. With off and third switch flicked up, it's a good amount of treble, not too shouty and too peaky. But still keep in mind that tastes and subjective treble perception is also diverse here. As I've mentioned before, these earphones have 80 ohms of impedance, not 18, but 80. So it's not something critical, but at the same time noticeably higher than average. Thanks to their high sensitivity, they don't require tons of power. But at the same time, to get their full potential, you'll need some dongle deck or I don't know, some player, so something that will be able to drive them properly. They don't require some super high power or something like that, but some I don't know, $50 dongle digital to analog converter will show their potential. But of course, they can scale up to mid-segment players. Speaking about the comparisons, I don't know what we've got in this price tier. For example, FIO FD3, they are more weighty, they have less speed and slightly more worms, and at the same time they have a bit less forward and focused treble. FIO JD7, actually my secret hidden gem that I really like. They have a bit more low frequencies and they have a slightly more extended treble without this switch. I mean, with the fourth switch, of course, these earphones will be even more extended. In some aspects, the tuning reminds me Moondrop Kato, but Kato is slightly better in terms of treble layering. I've seen that Moondrop released a new model to replace Kato. If I remember right, they called Cadence, but actually I haven't heard them. In general, these earphones are for those who like the idea of sound tweaking. Maybe you won't be toggling these switches on and off constantly, but what I see the purpose of these earphones is for those who are not sure what signatures they like. When you don't know your tastes, when you don't know your preferences, it's pretty easy to make some mistake and buy something that won't fit your taste. But with these tweaking options, it's kind of safer choice because with these toggles you can experiment and find the options that will suit your tastes better. And I think in this aspect it's a really good earphones to experience more technical, more refined sound and try whether you like it or not because you have like safety belt here. So in this aspect, really interesting earphones, and I kind of enjoy their sound signature with these settings. I like them. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and of course have a great day.